We'll go ahead and start. Today, we're focusing on the things that are like the small things that you can be grateful for. Yeah. Because I find that myself, hi, Robin, having moments where it can become so overwhelming when you think about everything that's going on in the world or all the things that are on your plate or everything that just somehow feels out of your control. And I don't know, but to me, sometimes thinking of the big things just seems too intangible and too anxiety provoking. So we're going to focus on the small things instead. So today, I'd like you to start seated on a block or a blanket, anything that will lift your pelvis. And then once you find yourself seated in whatever posture you're going to be in, I encourage you to remove any flesh from underneath your sit bones, and then plant your hands just for a moment on top of your thighs. From here, see if you can really allow the pelvis to root down. So you feel both sit bones really nestled into the support beneath you, and then spreading that energy out through the legs, the shins, the feet on the floor. And then I want you to notice if you can just reach up through the vertebra. So almost stacking the tailbone and then the sacrum and then all the bones in the lumbar spine, the thoracic spine, the cervical spine. So you've got this nice long spine. And then notice if you want to circle the shoulders up and back and down. And then see if you can find what happens if you just allow your chin to be parallel, if you allow the tension in your mouth and your throat to relax, the eyes to relax, the forehead to spread. And then from here, we're going to bring our hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. So I want you to really press both palms into each other and receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum as your sternum presses up. Keep your pinky fingers and your thumbs glued together, but start to peel away the index finger, the middle finger, and the ring finger. This is called Lotus Mudra. And so we're going to keep our gaze inward if possible, and you're going to feel the pressure of the thumbs into your chest, the pressure of the thumbs into each other, the pinky fingers into each other. And almost you can imagine that the opening of your hands is almost like a chalice. And in this chalice, in this cup, we're just gathering all the small things that you're grateful for. So it could be as small as, hey, look, I got up and got to yoga practice today. It could be, I'm grateful that I have this thing to drink. I don't care what it is, but all the small, tiny things. And you'll start to notice that as we allow ourselves this opportunity to just count our blessings, as it were, we sort of fall into what yoga teacher Nam Chitaran calls this, or well, he ends his class every single time this way. The more that I am grateful for what I have, the more I have to be grateful for. So you'll take 3 more breaths in this lotus mudra, fingertips pulling apart, index fingers, middle finger, ring finger pulling apart. And then at the end of your next exhalation, you'll allow the ring fingers to glue together, the middle fingers to glue together, the index fingers to glue together. All 5 fingers are now reunited. And just take 3 steady breaths. And as you're here, I'd like you to notice if you can deepen and expand your breath just a smidge. And just observe what has happened, even on a subtle level, from just doing that for a couple of moments and a couple of breaths. All right, when you're ready, gently lower your chin towards your chest, release your hands towards your lap, and then allow the eyes to float open, and then bring the head back up to center. From here, you're going to turn around and lie down on your backs, heads facing the top of your screen. And once you find yourself on your back, I want you to make the biggest, most expansive shape you could possibly make. So arms are wide, legs are wide, giant X for victory. And take a moment. You might move your body a little bit right to left. You might rock your heels. You might do none of the above, but just allow yourself to experience what it feels like to take up space. Sometimes it feels that when we're not grateful for just the smallest things, we can start to close in just a little bit. Our world, our vision can become a little bit smaller. So we're going to see what happens if we just give ourselves space, permission to be big. Okay, staying with this, on your next in breath, I'd like you to draw your right leg towards your left leg, all the way over. Yep. And some of you will keep your legs parallel towards one another. Some of you will cross your left ankle on top of your right. Fantastic. And then you're going to reach up through your arms even more and start to crawl your arms up and rainbow them over towards your left. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. And then notice if you can drop your right shoulder to the floor, your right hip to the floor. Maybe your gaze goes over towards the right armpit space. Maybe it doesn't, but see where you can soften any tension in the neck. See where you can breathe in your body. And so if those cues did not make sense, we're essentially making a giant banana with our bodies. And so hence the name, yep, banana asana. And so you'll just soften and breathe here and notice how this is happening in your body. Can you find where you can take in a deeper breath? Can you find where maybe there's just a little bit of tightness that you can find gratitude for the awareness of that? On your next in-breath, release the right hand, come back to an X shape, and then just take a moment to notice what you notice between your right side and your left side. Where is the breath moving a little bit more effortlessly? Nice work. On your next exhalation, draw your left leg towards the right. Cross your right ankle over perhaps, or maybe leave the legs parallel. Reach up through both arms and arc them up and over towards your right, and then grab that left wrist with your right hand. While you're here, notice if you can keep your left hip rooted, your left shoulder rooted, your sacrum, that triangular bone in the back wide, and then maybe take your gaze towards the left armpit space. And you just breathe and you notice what you notice. What is one small thing happening right now that you can draw more of your awareness to? Fantastic. When you're ready, gently release that right ankle, open the arms back up, open the legs back up, come back to that X shape. And then from here, you might take some rocking of the feet. So you'll point and flex your feet as hard as you can, and it might reverberate through your body. It might not, but that's okay. And then gently go ahead and come to stillness with that. Open your arms into a T shape, bend both knees, and plant your feet firmly on the floor. Now from here, push down through your feet, lift your pelvis up, slide your butt over to the right, and put your butt back down. Allow the legs to fall towards the left, and then stack both knees right on top of each other if you can. Draw your left hand to the top of your right thigh, and then I want you to push into the back of your head. Lift your left shoulder and slide it to the left, and notice if that allows your gaze to go more towards the right. Great. Some of you will stay exactly as you are here. Some of you will want to find more of a twist between your QL in the back, so lowest ribs and tops of hip. To do that, you will push your leg into your hand and pull your hand into your leg. So your left hand pulls down as your right thigh pushes up. And then maybe you'll notice that you find more engagement, yep, across the abs. You might feel it in the front of the body between lowest ribs and down to hips. You might feel it in the back of the body along the back, same space. Great. When you're ready, gently release that left hand, open it back to a T, and then inhale, come back through center. Take a moment, just notice, what do you experience, observe between the sides. And then as you're ready, try it to the other side. So push through the feet, lift your bum, slide your butt to the left, put it back down, and allow both legs to fall over to the right. Once your legs cascade to the right, really make sure that left knee stacks on top. Then bring your right hand on top of your left thigh, and you might just stay here. Maybe you push down into your right elbow, slide your right shoulder to the right, which will allow more of your gaze and shoulder blade to fall to the left, and you can stay here. And then again, if you'd like a little bit more, you push down with your right hand and you kick up with your right leg, and you'll notice that it just sort of targets, it focuses the attention, yep, right there around the abdominal region, front and back. Nice job. Barbara, what would happen if you slid your hand a little bit closer to your knee? So away from your pelvis? Yeah. And then that will give you the capacity to turn more if you'd like, but you don't have to. There you go. Fantastic. Very gently release that right hand. And then arms open to the T. Inhale, come back through center, re-square your pelvis underneath your shoulders. And then I'd like you to take a few pelvic rocks. So as you inhale, arch the spine away from the floor, and exhale, imprint the low back into the floor. And you'll just do about 5 of these, and they're super tiny. And you're noticing that as you do this, you can start to harness just lightly what's called mula bandha, your root lock. Awesome. Okay. Let's go ahead and find a sense of stillness, finding neutral with the pubic bone and tailbone. Draw your right knee to your chest. Interlace your hands behind the back of your right leg. Inhale, kick your right leg up towards the sky. And then exhale, bend the knee, draw the thigh towards the chest. You've got about 5 of these. So just follow your own breath and just experience what is happening in the body as you bend and straighten your leg. That's 3, 2 more. Deep breaths. And here's number 5. Fantastic. Next time that leg comes in, hold your right leg a little closer. Some of you will stay here. Some of you will extend your left leg long on the floor beneath you. From here, take a few ankle circles with that right foot. So you're just little circles with your ankle and just explore and experience what that feels like. And be sure that you do both sides. So switch directions if you haven't already. And then notice if you can soften your shoulders. Yep, if you can soften your jaw. Okay, let's go ahead and come to stillness with the foot. Pull your right knee a little closer to you and then see if you can open your right knee to your right armpit. So it'll open out just a little bit. Keep your left leg really heavy, really rooted. Left side of that pelvis really stable. And just breathe and notice what that feels like to have that slight opening across the adductors, the inner thigh muscles. Next in breath, draw the leg back through center. Plant your right foot on the floor, bend your left knee and plant your left foot on the floor and just observe, is there something different in the fronts of your hips from side to side? Yep. Okay, and then let's switch sides. Draw your left knee in, hold behind the back of your left thigh. Then gently inhale, extend your leg up towards the sky, and exhale, bend the knee into your chest. And you've got 5 of these, and you're trying to move very slowly, matching the movement to the length of the breath so that you can find a deeper inhalation. This is number 3. And a deeper, more complete exhalation. Sometimes it feels like to see the beauty around us, we do have to let go of some of our previous conceptions. Fantastic. The next time that leg is bent, go ahead and stay there. Hug the left thigh a little bit closer to you. And some of you may extend your right leg long on the floor beneath you. If the right leg is long, make sure that foot is still active. Back of the thigh presses into the floor. And then maybe you start to, sorry, Sandy. Take your ankle circles with your foot, just noticing how you can really move through the full range of motion. And sometimes our circles are kind of clunky, and notice if that happens and if you can maybe just smooth it out a little bit. Switch directions if you have not. And then come to stillness with your foot movement. Open your left knee a little bit towards the floor to the left. Root down through your right outer hip even more. Yep. And just notice what that feels like. Soft stretch across the inner edges of your thighs, deep, deep breaths. Great. Next in breath, draw the left leg back to center, put the left foot on the floor, bend the right knee and plant the right foot on the floor. Return to your little pelvic rocks here and just notice if anything has changed between the first time that you did this and the second time that you did this. And then for a moment, can everyone cactus their arms? So arms like little goal posts. Now take your pelvic rocking and notice if that changes anything. We're working a lot on trying to open up our hips today. It's the seat of our emotions. And it seems that to be able to experience awe, I was listening to a podcast about this. In order to experience awe, we have to have a sense of openness and willingness to have all of our emotions come through. All right, let's go ahead and come to stillness. Inhale, extend your right leg up towards the sky. Fantastic. As you exhale, bend the knee, cross the right ankle on top of your left. Now, draw the legs towards you, and some of you will stay here with your arms on the floor. Some of you will thread your arms through the whole of your leg and grab the back of your left thigh. Now, when you're here, let's really flex that right foot. And I want you to notice what happens if you drive more energy through your heel, sending it away from your right knee. And then notice what happens if you drive more energy through your big toe and your pinky toe. Still flexing through the foot, but just notice what gives you more opening in your outer right hip. And then you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice here as you draw the leg a little closer. Fantastic. Okay, from here, let's gently release. So draw the left foot to the floor, open the right leg to half happy baby, open the left knee to the left. So you're in this weird, awkward position, which is why we're facing away from the camera. Yep. And so you're just going to pause here and you're going to breathe. The left knee is really opening to the left. The right knee is opening to the right. Notice what's happening in the back of your sacrum as you just pause and you breathe. And if this wasn't awkward enough, it's about to become a little bit more awkward. Bring your left hand to the back of your head. You're going to hold your head and we're going to do 4 abdominal crunches. But I want you to put more weight into your hand. So you're releasing your weight of your head into your hand. You're going to do 4 little crunches. And the weird, awkward thing about this is you have to draw your front ribs to the floor and your back ribs up to your head and away from you in order to do these weird, awkward crunches. Oh, yep, so awkward. And after you've done 4, you'll gently release your head back down. You'll draw the left foot back to the floor, knee up to the sky. Extend your right foot up towards the sky. Hold on to the back of your right thigh. And then some of you will extend your left leg long against the floor. And we've added all those shapes into one. And so you're just pausing and you're breathing. Left leg is straight, possibly right leg is straight. And you're just noticing what you notice. And then very gently, go ahead and bend your right knee into your chest. Give it a little squeeze. Feel what that feels like. And then plant the right foot on the floor and then plant the left foot on the floor. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. And then very gently, we'll try all of that fun stuff on the other side. So cactus your arms back into that goal shape position. Yeah. Extend your left leg up towards the sky. Go ahead and bend your left knee, cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh for figure 4, Sukhi Randrasana, and maybe you stay here. Maybe you draw the configuration of your legs towards you. Maybe you thread your hands through the whole of your leg. But again, just as we did the first time, I want you to notice the difference in sensation. So you're flexing through your left foot. What happens if you drive more energy through your left heel, really drawing it away from your left knee? What about if you keep the foot flexed and push more energy out through your big toe mound and your pinky toe mound? How does that feel in your outer left hip? And you just pause and you breathe, and then you check in with your shoulders. Are they hiked up and away from the floor and up towards your ears, or can they soften and melt? Can you deepen your breath? Nice job. As you're ready, you'll gently release your hands. Draw your right foot to the floor. Allow your left leg to come to half happy baby. Allow your right knee to open to the right. And you just pause here for Ananda Balasana, and you just pause and you breathe, and you're breathing across your inner thighs, your adductor muscles, the pubic bone region, just breathing right in there. Notice how that feels. And some of you will stay right here. Some of us will make this a little bit more awkward. Draw your right hand to the back of your head. Really give your weight of your head into your hand and then do 4 little micro crunches. So the front ribs are coming to the floor, the back ribs are reaching up to the head. Yep. And then notice if you can really keep the energy, the effort out of your neck space. Sometimes when I do crunches, it feels like my neck is trying to do it. Let it come from the abdominal region. So no Klingon necks, or those aren't Klingons. What were those creatures from Star Trek? The Vulcans? No. Cardassians. Thank you, Sandy. All right. Let's come to stillness once you've done your 4. Draw your right knee towards the sky, right foot to the floor. Left leg goes up towards the sky. Interlace your hands behind the back of your left thigh, and then some of you will extend your right leg long. And just notice what that feels like. And you're just pausing and breathing. Long, steady, smooth, deep breaths. Fantastic. Next exhalation, bend your left knee, draw the knee closer to your chest, real tight squeeze. And then when you're ready, extend the leg long. And then take a moment to revisit your X shape and see how things feel now. Maybe in this moment, finding gratitude for just the deeper breaths, the extra space, the time to be right here, right now. Cool. One more thing. Let's draw our feet so they are towards each other, more in parallel and long. Bring your hands to the back of your head. Okay, and then you're going to lift your head away from the floor, but make your head heavier into your hands. And you're going to do about 5 to 10 crunches here. I'm going to leave this up to you. But the goal is, see how wide you can make your elbows. See how you can draw your front ribs down towards your hips and up. Yeah. And then see if you can keep your head heavy into your hands. Nice job. And I'm letting you do 5 to 10. So you do whatever works for you. I'm not counting as usual. And it doesn't matter to me how many you do. You do what feels good to you. And then once you've done the number that you're going to do, you're going to relax. It'll give me an opportunity to see where we're all at. Those of you that are still going, we can go ahead and stop now. You are killing it. Good job. All right. Let's go ahead and extend our right arm alongside our ears. Roll over onto our right side and continue to come up to hands and knees. Once you find yourself in hands and knees, we're going to take a moment to do some prop setup. So you might bring your blocks or whatever you're using as blocks to the upper outer corners of your space. Your strap, we don't really need that for now if you've got one. And then maybe padding your knees with a blanket. Once we're all set up with that, we're finding our sad non-California cows. I would encourage, if you're using the blanket, maybe to walk your knees forward so the tops of your kneecaps can drop off the edge of the blanket. Hands are directly underneath your shoulders, fingertips are spread wide. And then you're going to drop your head because you don't live in California when it's beautiful. And then you're going to draw your shoulder blades, squeezing them together as you keep dropping your head. And then you're going to drop the front of your belly. And then you're going to lift your sit bones and widen your sit bones. And then I want you to breathe across the front of your abdomen, almost like you were trying to smooth out, lengthen your abdomen using your breath inside. And you'll just take a few breath cycles to breathe here, continuing to hug those shoulder blades together on the back, continuing to drop your head, to press down through your arms, to spread and blossom those beautiful sit bones. And then on your next exhalation, I want you to start to pull all your organs away from the floor, all the organs away from the floor, all the organs away from the floor. You start to round through your back. You drop your head even more. You lengthen the tailbone down even more and press the floor away even more. Fantastic. Halloween cat. And then inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, lift the tail, cow pose. So you've got 4 of those. Exhaling, rounding through the spine, cat pose. And just experience what that feels like to vacillate between your extension and your flexion of the spine. How does that feel? What do you notice happening in the breath? What do you notice happening in the body? Fantastic. All right, this will be our last one. On your next in-breath, let's find ourselves into a neutral spine. So again, hugging your organs away from the floor, pushing down through your hands, curl your right toes back, curl your right toes under, and then make the left foot match the right. So we find ourselves in plank pose. And you're gonna pause there and you're going to breathe, and you're going to say, hello, little plank, and you're going to draw the low belly in and up. Fantastic. On your next exhalation, lower the knees back down. Here's our awkward transition for the day, not that they haven't been so far. You're going to take your left knee forward towards your left hand. You're going to draw your left foot towards your right hand-ish. You're going to curl, oh, I need more padding for that front knee. You're going to curl your back toes under, and we're going to find ourselves in a weird type of pigeon prep. So the back knee is really rooted onto the floor. This is where our blocks will come in handy. Some of you will hold on to your blocks. Our key task for the moment is I want you to push into your front shin. I want you to push into your back knee. I want you to push into your back big toe and see if you can suck all those points together. And then from there, notice if you can drop your tailbone down. We're looking for a sensation across the front of our right thigh, and our blocks are here for like, yeah, I need a little bit of support. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what that feels like. And some of you will notice that if you look to one direction or the other, you'll find more sensation across the front of your hip. For me, if I look to the left, I find this nice stretch that goes across my psoas on the front of my right hip. Yeah. And then we're gently going to come out of that. Hands come back to the floor, curl the back toes under, and hello, we're going to make it back to plank. Hooray. And you pause for 3. You pause for 2. You pause for 1. Exhale, lower your knees down. Awkward transition again. Your right knee comes forward. Your right foot sort of inches itself towards your left hand. The left knee stays curled under. Push down into your right shin. Push down into your left knee. Push back into your left big toe. And then suck those points together. Lengthen the tailbone down. And then just notice what this feels like to find this engagement. We're trying to find an opening across the front of our hip. And once you've got all that, maybe you look to the right, maybe you look to the left, but you're just exploring what's different in this moment in this shape. Keep pressing into your front right shin. Yep, great. From here, let's gently come out of it. Hands come back down to the floor. Curl your back toes under if they're not, and step yourself back to plank one more time, Phalangasana. Now from here, you're gonna lift your hips, walk your feet forward, and make your way into your downward facing dog. With our first down dog of the day having just happened here, I want you to just notice what you notice. Do you need to be still? Do you want to bend one knee and then the other? Do you want to shift your tuchus to the right or to the left? What are the small things that you can do to allow the shape to just give you a sense of pleasure, a sense of peace, a sense of strength or an enjoyment, whatever it is you're looking for? And then notice what's happening to that breath of yours. Can you come back to that? Great. All righty. From here, take a big breath in. As you exhale, I want you to push your hands forward and down a little bit more. Inhale, come back to plank. Here's awkward transition number 2. Take your right foot outside of your right hand. Oh, hooray. At this point, most of us are going to probably want to put our hands on blocks. Awesome. From here, I want you to push down into your right foot. I want you to lift your left inner thigh, tone your left glute, and come to your fingertips so your heart can become forward or can come forward in front of you. And just notice what this feels like. And you're just going to pause and you're going to breathe. Draw your outer right hip just, yep. And then pause here. Let's lower hands down to our blocks a little bit. Step our back foot in just an inch, spin the foot down. Walk your hands and or blocks over to the inner upper left corner of your space. And so before we go for the full down dog lunge, I want us to come back just a bit. Imagine that you're pushing down into your right heel, and for some reason, I had put a quarter underneath your right heel, and I want you to spin counterclockwise, so spin your heel towards the right, so it doesn't actually move, it's just an isometric thing. Notice how that can start to tone your outer right hip. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. And then push down to the pinky toe edge of your left foot. From there, start to send your butt back a little bit more. Yes. Now from there, keep the strength in your legs. Walk your arms as far away from your butt as you want to. And you're keeping all this activation in the legs. Yeah, that looks nice. all this energy. Nice, long, steady breaths. And blocks aren't necessary. It's just if you want them. So if it feels better to have your hands on the floor, put your hands on the floor. Great. Awesome. On your next exhalation, start to walk your hands back towards you. Bring your hands to the inside edge of your front foot. Pivot to the ball of your back foot. Take a moment, if you can or want to, lower your hands directly onto the mat. And I want you to push your right knee into your right shoulder area, your right shoulder, knee, arm together. So pushing that into each other. Fantastic. Now, if you're doing that, some of you are going to have to reposition your hands so your hands are shoulder distance apart, and then step yourself back to downward facing dog. Awesome. And then you just take a moment to pause and you take a moment to breathe. How's your right side? How's your left side? Can you send your inner thighs back? Can you blossom up through those buttocks? Yep. Great. Let's move on. Inhale here and exhale, root the hands down even more. Next in-breath, come forward into plank pose, Fallenkasana. And then awkward transition number 2, step your left foot outside of your left hand. Fantastic. Hands come to blocks once again, and then we pause. So push down into the center of your left heel. See if you can lift your right inner thigh up. Yep. Tone your right hip. Hug your outer left hip in, and then come to the tips of your fingertips. See if your whole heart space can come forward. Yeah. And you just pause here and you notice that power, that strength in your legs. When we're ready, we might bring our hands back down. We're going to step our back foot in just a smidge to spin the foot down for warrior 2 shape, and then start to walk our hands over to the upper right corner of our space. And here, let's pause again. So we're going to root our energy down through our left shin bone. There's a quarter underneath you, and at this time, it's spiraling, I guess, clockwise. So towards your left toes. Notice how that allows you to bend even more into your left knee and hug your outer left hip back. Press into the knife edge of your back foot. And then if you want to, start to walk your hands as far away from you as possible, but keep the weight in your legs. So butt back, arms forward. Yep, so the weight stays in your legs. The power is always there. Well, not always, but for today it is. Okay, take 2 more breath cycles here. Still pressing that imaginary quarter to the left. And then as you're ready to come out, hands walk back underneath you. You walk your hands to the inside edge of your left foot. Perhaps you lower the blocks, maybe you don't, it's totally up to you. But make sure hands are about shoulder distance apart. Hug your left knee into left arm into left knee, and see if you can still lift your inner right thigh. But yeah, fantastic. Gently step yourself back, downward facing dog. And then you just take a moment to pause, and you take a moment to breathe. Nice job there, Robin. Fantastic. When you're ready, inhale, come forward into plank pose, rolling all the way through. Fantastic. And we'll just take 3 breaths here, lifting up through our armpits, reaching back through our tailbone and forward through our crown. On your next in-breath, shift your weight forward as you exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Nice. Ugh, indeed. Once you're there, hands are alongside your ribs. Extend the tops of your feet onto the floor. Press your pinky toenails down, your big toenails down. Lengthen your tailbone back. Scoop your pubic bone up towards your navel. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulder blades on the back. Start to lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. And then start to pull your hands back isometrically as you pull your heart forward to come into cobra pose. Fantastic. On your next exhale, lower all the way down. Cool. Curl your toes under, your choice. Inhale to hands and knees or plank pose, and then exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. 3 breaths. Nice job. Was it cold? I'm sorry. You did it yourself, Sandy. I had nothing to do with that. Okay, go ahead and lower your knees down for a moment. Okay, we're going to do a variation on down dog today. So I want you, what? Oh, well, it's okay even if it was. We're going to make a triangle with our hands. So put your hands in a triangle. And then you're going to curl both sets of toes under. You're going to lift your pelvis up Walk your feet forward just a little bit and wider than you normally would. This is just to feel a difference in how the shoulders work, the back works, the legs work. And you just pause and breathe. You've got 3 breath cycles here. And after you've done this for 3 breath cycles, you'll take a normal orientation for downward facing dog by possibly lowering your knees down or just walking your hands to the position and then walking your feet to the position. Nice. Let's add on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, bend your right knee, open and stack your right hip. Then just take a moment to pause. That same action you felt in that triangle or that down dog a little bit ago, see if you can keep that energy in your right hand. On your next exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Loop. Great. Hands come back to your blocks. Loop. Fantastic. Okay. Again, lift up through your inner left thigh. Hug your outer left hip, and then see if you can hug your outer right hip. Inhale, reach your heart forward by making your fingertips light. And now as you exhale, you're going to straighten your front leg, fold your chest towards your shin bone. Ha ha ha. Great. We got 4 of those. Inhale, bend the front knee, reach the heart forward. Yep. Exhale, straighten the front leg, heart melts towards your shin. Yep. 2 more on your own. Just breathing, feeling how this feels. Nice job. This is our last one. And then we're going to stay here in this modified pyramid pose with our right leg straight. Now, some of you will stay right here. Some of you will maybe come to the tips of your fingertips and pull your heart forward. Some of you might start to peel the sole of that right foot up and away from the floor and say, oh, buddy, man, yeah, isn't that intense? And you just pause and you breathe and you notice your blocks are there to support you. Maybe you walk them back, maybe you don't. Great. On your next in-breath, go ahead and bend your knee and plant the foot onto the floor. Now we're going to step our left foot in just a smidge and put our left foot to the floor. I would encourage you to walk your blocks so they're really like hugging your front foot. This will give you the opportunity to choose whichever variation you want. Some of you will keep your right hand on the outside edge of your right knee and push your right knee out towards the right, and notice how you can open through that inner right thigh. And then you might reach your left arm alongside your ears for extended side angle. Some of you might be like, yeah, Jessica, I don't want to do that. So you'll bring your right hand to the inside edge of your right leg and then reach your left arm forward for extended side angle. But wherever you are, you're going to pause and you're going to breathe. We're going to imagine we have that quarter underneath our right heel, and we're going to turn it to the right. You're going to push down on your left pinky toes, wrap your right ribs under, and maybe gaze underneath your armpit. Nice job. All right. Next in breath, let's go ahead and frame our front foot with both hands. Pivot to the ball of your back foot. Now, this is going to be awkward, but you're going to step your back foot in a little bit, turn both feet towards your left, take your blocks with you if you want, and now you're facing the long edge of your mat in this wide-legged forward fold. Now, for most of us, you might just stay here. You might choose to bend one knee. You might choose to bend the other knee. If you're staying still, you stay still. If you're bending your knees, make sure you do both sides equally. And you're just breathing wherever you're at. Okay, fantastic. Those that are in movement, come to stillness. Let's all go ahead and reach our heart and sternum forward, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then as you exhale, fold in just a little bit more. See if you can allow your head to descend towards the floor. Press wide through your pinky fingers, or pinky toes. Your pinky fingers, that's funny. Your pinky fingers on your feet. Okay. Next in-breath, come to halfway lift. Bring your hands to your blocks. Take your blocks and pivot to the top of your space, pivoting your feet with you as well. Great. Plant your feet. Plant your feet well. Put your hands on the floor and step yourself back to downward facing dog. We're having an introversion day. Okay. Inhale, come forward into plank pose, fallen kasana. As you exhale, shift your weight forward. Chest, belly, and thighs all touch at the same time. Nice. Nice. Fantastic. All right. From here, we're going to come back into Cobra, but this time we're going to see if we can come a little bit higher. So again, start with your legs. Make sure your legs are super long. Press down into your pinky toes and your big toes. Draw your tailbone back, scoop your pubic bone up, push down into your hands, draw the shoulders up towards your ears, draw shoulder blades onto your back, and then lift up through the tops of your ears, well, top of your crown rather. I want you to see what happens this time. If you pull back isometrically with your hands and then lightly hug your shoulder blades together on your back like you did for that sad California cow. Yeah, it allows you to lift just a little bit higher. Then you just pause and you breathe. And on your next exhale, you shift your weight forward and lower all the way down. Nice work. Curl your toes under. Inhale, come up, hands and knees or plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. 3 breaths. And you just notice. How's the spine? How's the body? How's the breath? What's one tiny thing in this moment that's working? Are you hot? Okay, let's go ahead and lower our knees down. And we're going to take that weird down dog again. So your hands are going to form a little triangle. And then you curl your toes under. You lift your hips up and back. You walk your feet wide. And your feet are a lot closer than they would normally be in the down dog. So you feel that extra weight in your shoulders. You feel how the shoulder blades change their normal orientation on your back. Great. And you're just going to take 3 more breath cycles here, really trying to lift your hip bones up, blossom back through your butt bones, your sit bones, so they stay wide. Great. When you're ready, make your way to a normal downward facing dog, whether you walk there or lower your knees down and make the transition. Fantastic. All right, let's move on. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, bend the knee, open and stack the hip, and just take a moment to pause here, rooting down through your left hand. Yep, just as you did in that triangle down dog. And then on your next exhale, hug your left knee to your nose, step your left foot between your feet. Wow, your hands, your arm feet. Okay, bring your hands to your blocks. Bring your fingertips to your blocks. Pause here. Again, root down through your left foot. Lift up through your inner right thigh, hug your outer right hip, and then hug your outer right hip in. With your heart and sternum reaching forward, on your next exhale, you're going to straighten your front leg. Reach your heart forward towards your toes and head towards the floor. And then inhale, bend the front knee, come forward. Yep. And then exhale, go back. And you've got 4 total. So you just move in and out of this shape for you, noticing how that feels to be here, what you're working with, how it's going. Great. Awesome sauce. After you've done 4, you're going to stay with your left leg straight. Now, some of you will walk the blocks under your shoulders, so you'll walk them back. You might come to the tips of your fingertips or reach your heart forward. Keep hugging your outer right hip in as you draw your outer left hip in, and then you might peel the sole of your left foot up and away from the floor, and you just pause, and you breathe, and you say, hello, hamstrings, hello, calf, hello, breath, hello, body. Fantastic. Next in breath, let's go ahead and bend our front knee. Walk your blocks to frame your front foot. If you need to adjust your back foot, by all means, do that. And then some of you will, again, you'll just push down to the center of your left foot. You'll keep your left hand on the outside edge of your left foot. You'll spin your right foot all the way down to the floor for a warrior 2. Now, some of you will hug that knee and that arm towards each other and then extend your right arm forward and alongside your ear for Utthita Parsvakonasana, extended side angle. Some of you will be like, yeah, that's too much for me. I want my arm on the inside of my left leg, and then you'll do that. Wherever you are, you're all pressing down through the pinky edge of your back foot. You're pushing down into the center of your front foot and finding that little turn of the heel isometrically to the left as you draw your left ribs under your right ribs on top. Nice job, guys. On your next in-breath, we'll gently unwind. We'll bring our hands back down to the floor. Okay, well, actually to the block. I'm sorry, we have one more thing to do. Step your back foot in a little bit. Straighten your front leg long. Turn both feet to the right so they're to the short edge or parallel to the short edge of your mat. Now, we're going to do something awkward here. I want you to turn your back toes, so in this instance, your right toes to face the upper right corner of your mat. And then you're going to start to bend your right knee and start to walk your butt down. Some of you will be like, yeah, Jessica, that's ridiculous. And you're going to put your butt on your block. Yep. And be like, yeah, Jessica, that's super ridiculous. And then we're going to peel the sole of our foot up. And if you're like, Sandy, that's not going to happen, do you want my block? Okay. And we're going to bring our hands back to heart center. So when we're in this shape, we're still extending out through our long leg. We're still lifting up through our spine, and we're pushing down into that bent knee foot and isometrically rolling or spinning our heel towards our big toe. Yep. And so you pause and you breathe and you're noticing what you notice here. All right. Cool. And when we're ready to come out of it, we're going to shift our weight forward. Bring both feet to the floor. I know, I'm sorry. Sandy's like, that's easy for you. Okay. And we're going to try that on the other side. So you're going to turn your front toes. So most of us, that'll be your left toes to the top of our space. We're going to bend our left knee and we're going to start to lower our butt down to the floor or blocks, whichever is going to work for you. Finding ourselves in what's called Skandasana. Yep. Okay. And then we're going to extend out through the right leg, really flexing through that foot, hands at heart center. We're still pushing down into our left heel and spinning our left heel towards our big toe. And then we just pause and we breathe. And we notice how that's working for us. Fantastic. Okay. When we're ready to come out, you're going to shift your weight forward, take your blocks with you. Find yourself in Prasarada Padottanasana, wide-legged forward fold. And now, since we've done all that crazy stuff, you choose to do whatever the heck feels good to you there. So maybe you just hang out. Maybe you bend one knee and then the other. Maybe you do none of the above. You just pause and breathe. Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and inhale, halfway lift. Bring your hands to your blocks. Pivot to face the top of your space, low lunge. And then plant your palms and step yourself back to downward facing dog. Cool. From down dog, inhale, come forward into plank pose, Palankasana. As you exhale, shift your weight forward, knees, chest, and thighs all touch at the same time. Yeah, cool. This time, let's reach our arms back so our hands are alongside our pelvis. Hands are alongside our pelvis, great. Lift your left leg up, hug all the muscles around your left leg, making it as strong as it can be, and then put your left leg back down, press your pinky toes into the floor. Lift your right leg up, hug all the muscles around that right leg, reach it back, and then put it down onto the floor. Reach your tailbone back to both of your heels. Draw your pubic bone up to your belly. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears, and then hug your shoulder blades onto your back. Lift the ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. And then here, I want you to bend your elbows slightly. Crawl your fingers back and slightly wide. And then notice if you want to stay here, hanging out, happy as a day, happy as a clam. Some of you might reach so far back through the toes that the legs lift up. Some of you might want to isometrically push down into your fingertips and pull them forward to lift your chest a little higher. And some of you might want to release the arms entirely away from the floor and fly like Superman and Superwoman through the air for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Lower down. Nice work. You get a rest here. So you can take 5 breaths, just laying here, do whatever the heck you want to. Maybe you stack your hands on top of each other. Maybe you bring an ear to the mat. Do whatever works for you, but just 5 breaths. Finding a moment to maybe say thank you for the momentary pause or the strength that your body exhibited through all of that stuff, the sense of openness and curiosity that you as a person inhabit just by being willing to explore some of these things. If your cheek is to one side, please switch directions. So look to the other side. And then take a couple more breaths. Nice work. All right, let's move on. Bring your head back to center. Plant your hands alongside your ribs. Curl your toes under, and then your choice, hands and knees or plank. And then back to downward facing dog. Nice job. All right, so we have not done this yet. This is going to possibly be weird. Yep, you are going to find yourself into forward fold. I would encourage you to walk your hands back to your feet, but some of you might want to walk your feet forward to your hands. So you choose whatever works for you. Yep, and then once you find yourself there, let yourself be first with the awareness of what's happening in your feet. So see if you can spread wide through all 10 toes. If you can press into your big toe mound and your pinky toe mound, your inner and your outer heel. Notice if your weight is more forward on the balls of your feet or more back towards the heels or if it's centered. And then I want you to see if you can find that perpendicular line of the shin bone to the floor. And then notice if you can pull up through your kneecaps or if your knees want to be bent, it's totally okay. Some of you will clasp opposite elbow. Some of you will hold on to the back of your head. Some of you will do none of that and just hold on to the floor. I want you to notice if you want to gently shake your head no, very gently. And if you've done that, then maybe you come to stillness and then maybe notice if you want to gently bob your head yes. If you are holding the back of your head, you don't really have to do any of that. You can just push your head into your hands into your head, and it just finds this nice elongation through the back of your spine. Fantastic. All right, here's our awkward transition number 3. Go ahead and bend your knees, plant your hands on the floor, and you're gonna bend your knees so much that you find yourselves in toe squat. So if you wanna pad your knees with a blanket, I would encourage that. If you're like, I don't need that, that's fine. Once you're there, you're gonna curl all 10 toes under. And if you need blocks, you might want your blocks somewhere nearby. Okay, and then we're just gonna, oh, those are heavy, I like that. Okay, you're gonna just pause and you're gonna breathe there for a moment. And we're gonna use this as a transition into our next shape. So right hand comes to block or floor. Your left hand is gonna reach up and over towards your right. And we're just looking for a stretch that's happening all along our right side. Sorry, your left side. Yeah, my right, your left, you're good. And then we breathe. And then on your next in-breath, the left arm sweeps back to the left, you come back through center, and then we're gonna try that on the other side. So maybe left hand to floor or block, your right arm reaches up and overhead. Is that okay? Okay, okay. And then you just pause and you breathe. And you notice what you notice, trying to find this elongation happening here. Awesome. All right, and then the right arm swings back to the right. We're gonna add on to that. The right arm is probably going to stay pretty much in line with your right hip. You might start to thrust your pelvis forward just a little bit, finding this weird type of dancing camel shape. Then you pause and you breathe. And then you come back through center. And we go to the other side. And you'll notice that if your hand is pretty much on the floor, your hips don't lift very high. But if your hand is on a block, you can probably lift your hips a lot higher. So we're going to do 2 more sets of that. So you can maybe try playing with hand on block, hand not, and just noticing how that changes things. Roberta's like, yeah, nope. And you might notice that as we do these last 2 sets, the more you walk your hand back behind your feet, the more it becomes an ustrasana, a camel shape. But more isn't always better. Sometimes the things to be grateful for, the small things that we can do. All right, last set, last side. Just calm, steady breath. Nice job. Next time you come through center, you're going to come forward to hands and knees and make your way to your final downward facing dog. And you just pause and you breathe. Final downward facing dog. Fantastic. Okay, from down dog, lower your shins back to the floor. Okay, and we're gonna sit on our shins. We're gonna shift our tuchus over towards the right and actually left. Wow, I'm having an issue with that. What? Okay. We're gonna actually, I want you to sit on a blanket for this. So we're gonna pretend we're riding side saddle. I want you to put up enough of a blanket that when you sit on your shin, you can bring your pelvis. You look very regal on your little perch. Imagining. So Barbara, let's put it on our left side. Sorry, I should have said that. What happened?
The Little Mermaid.
Oh, Sandy says it's the Little Mermaid from Copenhagen. We're in her statue. Really? I feel like this looks like a queen riding a horse. Fair enough. Okay, so Little Mermaid, Queen. Um, Queen Mermaid, you might want your blocks somewhere nearby. We're not going to need them immediately, but they're going to be to your left. Great. You're probably going to hold on with your left hand, sorry, your, wow, right hand either on the top of your right thigh or maybe over towards the right. We're going to reach up and over toward the right. It's so strange because sometimes it's fine. And I think I was fine until like halfway through. But my right is your left. And then it's like, double duty with the brain. And so you just pause and you breathe. And again, we're feeling the stretch on our left side. Find how that feels. On your next in breath, go ahead and come up. Lower your left hand maybe to the floor or maybe to the block to the left. Right hand maybe to the floor or maybe to the block. You're going to push down through your fingertips, lift up through your spine, and then start to roll your right ribs to the left. And just find this variation of Vajrasana's twist. And you just pause and you breathe. Pause and breathe. Ooh, nice job. Next in breath, go ahead and come through center, unwind the spine, shift your butt back onto your heels, take your little saddle / mermaid perch over to the right, take your blocks also to the right, and then very gracefully plant your right hip on top of your perch. Cool. And then same as before, maybe you're holding on with your left hand to your right leg. We're going to reach up and over with our right arm towards the left. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice how the rib cage, maybe the intercostal muscles between each of the ribs are maybe a little bit more expansive, a little bit more open. Nice. Next in breath, go ahead and come up through center. Lower the right hand down. Maybe the right hand comes to the floor or block behind you just slightly. Left hand maybe in front of the right knee. And then again, inhale, lift up through your spine. And as you exhale, the left ribs start to hug towards the right ribs hug towards the center. Your head lifts up. You are, oh yeah, I do like the mermaids. You do seem like Little Mermaid. So you're the little Ariel in the sun, and she's singing her beautiful song. And yes, oh, she's not a whole new world. What is her song? I want to be. I want to be where the people are. So you're longingly looking out towards whatever it is you're going for because you're grateful for this beautiful voice that you have. Hooray! Well, she wasn't, but we are. Okay. On your next in breath, gently unwind. Come back through center. I don't know. I really am just a little sleep deprived. And then stack both feet on top of both hips. You're going to put your butt to the floor, swing your legs around in front of you. Last thing here. So we are going to open our legs out for a straddle pose, Upavista Konasana. If you're like, yeah, just said that doesn't work, you've got your blanket, put your butt on the blanket so that we can have your sit bones up. Cool. And we still have our blocks. Or maybe we do. Okay. And some of you are just going to walk your elbows forward and hang out here for a moment. We're trying to feel the stretch along the inside edges of our thighs. And you'll just pause and you'll hang out here. Some of you are like, yeah, that's nothing. And you might start to walk your hands down to the floor. Some of you are like, yeah, that's nothing. And you might lay all the way down. Or do none of the above. Yeah, that's probably true, huh? So we need another alternative. But oh, that works. No. Does that work? That seems like that works. Okay, and then you just pause and you breathe. And when you're ready, you might choose to stay here. If you feel like you'd like a little bit more, you might walk yourself up and you can take a rotation towards the left. So your legs are still long, energetic lines, and you might just rotate towards the left, feeling your right ribs come over and just feel how that feels. You might stay here. You might start to reach your heart forward, maybe down towards your shin, maybe down towards your foot, maybe none of the above, but you just pause and you breathe and you explore. Okay. And some of you will stay right there. Some of you might lower your left forearm to a block or the floor, maybe inside or outside of your left leg, depending upon how open your hips are, and then reach your right arm alongside your ears. And as you're here, I encourage you to notice what happens if you allow your right hip to lift off the floor versus allowing it to go down. Sometimes I like to just play between the two because it allows me to feel my psoas and my quadratus lumboris. So the psoas is more in the front, well, quadratus lumborum is more in the back, but you can feel that just kind of move and open. Awesome sauce. And then when you're ready, you reach the right arm to the right. It almost pulls you up. You come back through center. Just notice what you notice. Fantastic. And we'll do all that again. So bring your blocks back to the center. And again, you might just hinge forward at the hips and hang out here and just pause and breathe and be happy as a clam here. Some of you might choose that you want to come out of this. You'll start to walk your hands back, walk your spine up to vertical. You'll frame your right leg with both of your hands. And then again, you rotate your left ribs forward, your right ribs back. You pull the hands back isometrically. You reach your heart forward. And then maybe you start to hinge forward at the hips, arcing your heart to your knees, or your heart to your shin, to, wow, your heart towards your nose. Wow. Relation of body. Heart towards your knee, your shin towards your chest, reaching forward. Okay. And some of you will stay there. Some of you will allow your right forearm to come to the floor, maybe inside or outside your right leg, and reach out through your left arm up and overhead. And then just observe, what does it feel like to allow your left hip to lift or lower from the floor? And it's really small. You might not even see it, but it does have a profound impact in terms of what you're experiencing. Awesome sauce. And then when you're ready to come out, the left arm swims out to the left. It pulls you up to center. You lower both hands down and you take a moment to settle. Cool. From here, blocks will come off to the side. You will put your hands under the backs of your legs like little swoopers. Walk your legs together, turn around, and lie down on your back. This is put on your shirt and socks moment. So if you are a person who tends to get cold in Shavasana, this is put on your shirt and socks moment. If you have a blanket you like wrapping yourselves up in, this is the get that too. We're not quite there yet, but this is we're getting ready to lay down. So bundle yourselves up if you want. Thank you for asking that, Roberta. Once you are bundled up and on your back with your head towards the top of your space, I want you to first bend your knees and plant your feet firmly on the floor. Walk your feet outside of your hips. Allow your knees to fall into each other. And then some of you will wrap your arms around your torso, giving yourselves a hug. Some of you will cactus your arms. So we're in constructive rest. The idea is that the architecture of your bones supports the posture. So we're not having to hold anything with muscular energy. Instead, you've placed your different body parts in such a spot that they just naturally support each other or themselves or you. And you'll just take about 5 to 10 breaths here. And with every inhalation, I want you to see if you can find a little bit of awareness of the things that are awe-inspiring to you, the things that make you happy or surprised in a pleasant way, or things that feel good and pleasurable, comforting. And you just notice that first. And then you wait with it. And then you take a deep breath. According to Florence Williams, these 3 things, so noticing something, waiting, being with it, and then taking a deep breath, she calls it awe, awareness, wait, exhale, are the things that can be used to gradually allow us to experience a little bit more awe. And the reason we want to experience awe is because it allows us to be more aware of the things that are going well in our life, but it also makes us more resilient when things are not. So as you're here for these last few breath cycles, I'd like you to notice if you want to switch which arm is on top. And then you do that. You take a breath and you just allow yourself to be with that. And you'll take about 5 more breaths in this new shape. And again, the first action is to just become aware. Notice what you notice. Wait, be with that experience, and then take a deep breath. And the funny thing is that she said, she was saying that this is almost like a muscle that we build. It's a sense of strength training that we can do so that whenever hard things do happen to us, we are more resilient, we are more grateful, we are more joyous. Okay. So as you're in the shape for this last few breath cycles, I'd like you to check in with you and see if there's any final shape and or shapes you would like to do. You do have your strap, so if you wanted to do something with your strap, whether it's a thigh root or whether it's Supta Baddha Konasana, by all means, you've got the blocks. So maybe you take Supta Baddha Konasana or a supported bridge. You might choose to do a happy baby, or you might be like, yep, I'm ready for Shavasana. Whatever you're going to do, I do encourage you to just allow yourself to first witness what it is that's just calling to you. Wait, be with that, respond to that, and then breathe with that. Okay, if you have done something that is asymmetrical, I encourage you to explore the other side. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way to our final resting pose. So whether that's Shavasana, if you're in a space where you might want to throw your legs up a wall or over a chair or over a couch, you might do that. And you'll take your first few breaths to just become really, really comfortable in the pose. So noticing your head, noticing if your right side and your left side are equally rooted. Noticing if you can allow more of your bones, that firm foundation of which you are, to just drop, to settle. Once the bones become heavy, can you allow the muscles to soften around the bones? And then once the bones are heavy, once the muscles have softened, so they're almost like dripping and draping off of your bones, notice what happens to your breath. The more you let the foundation, the support of your body become heavy, you let the muscles, which are good to move us from time to time, but don't always need to be active. Once you allow them to soften, the breath gets to move. And when the breath moves, the prana, the life force, the chi, the energy, whatever you want to refer to it as, your life, vitality, you, it starts to flow. It becomes more fluid. It allows you to more naturally experience the things that are awe-inspiring, the things that will naturally invoke that sense of genuine gratitude and gratefulness. So as you're here with you for the next few moments and the next few breaths, I invite you to do the hard thing of continuing to let go. Let go of the thoughts that aren't helping, the ways of being that aren't serving you any longer, and create the space for that spaciousness, that breath that you naturally are to come into being. I'll leave you here with you for a few more moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. Notice if there's any part of you longing to linger in this state. And if there is, just stay here. If movement is calling you, allow movement to re-enter into your fingers and your toes. Those in stillness, again, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll gradually start to make your way to one of your sides. From your side, you'll roll your chest more towards the floor. You'll use your hands to bring your spine up to vertical. And then you'll place your pelvis on something, whether it's a block, a blanket, a pillow, anything so that your spine is lifted. Fantastic. And then once you're settled, just as we began, you'll remove any flesh that's underneath your sit bones. You'll plant your hands on the tops of your thighs. You'll find that rootedness of your pelvis, that weight that extends out through the legs, through the shins, through the feet, to the floor. And then you'll find that buoyancy. The more you root down through the pelvis, your spine ripples and stacks upward. From there, the shoulders might come up, they might come back, they might draw down the spine. And then notice if you can soften any tension around your mouth, your jaw, your tongue. If you can allow the eyes to rest into the sockets, the forehead to spread. Bring your hands again to Anjali Mudra, heart center. For the first one, we'll just press our palms into each other and really receive the weight of the thumbs into the sternum, push your sternum into your thumbs. And then it feels like your hyoid bone. So that floating bone in your throat pulls back, your chin will drop just a little bit. And then keeping your pinky fingers and your thumbs glued together, spread the other three fingers apart. So ring finger spreads, your middle finger spreads, your index finger spreads. So now we're making what's called lotus mudra. And again, I encourage you to just take about 3 to 5 breaths and fill your chalice, your cup, with whatever small things you are grateful for. Once you feel like you've filled that cup, you'll re-glue the ring finger, the middle finger, the index finger. Fantastic. With both palms evenly pressing in. Again, continue to lift the sternum to the thumbs to the sternum. We'll complete our practice with one collective breath, followed by one collective Om. Exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. That light, that breath, vitality and gratefulness within me salutes that light, that breath, that vitality and gratefulness within each of you. Namaste.